Do you want to know how to avoid family conflict at Christmas? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, child development, and education, all through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about conflict at Christmas. In this video, we're going to talk about why family conflict oftentimes happens around the holidays or when we have big family gatherings, and we'll talk about things that you can do to avoid having conflict this year. So why is it that family conflict oftentimes happens at holiday gatherings or when we're just gathering in big groups in general? Well, there could be multiple reasons for that, but let's explore those. One reason could be that there was a conflict that actually started a long time ago that never really got resolved. Another thing that could happen is maybe there are people who are judgmental of other people. Maybe they have anxieties about things. They feel unsure about somebody's hygiene or their language or their behavior, and so they judge them or they let their anxieties take over and lead to fear. Maybe someone is not pleased by somebody else's behavior. That could be another reason why family conflict could occur. Some people have a fear of things not going perfectly, and because they want it so perfect, when it doesn't go perfect, then they end up creating conflict or contention, trying to steer it back on that perfect track. So that reason for conflict might be perfectionism. But probably one of the most common reasons that people have conflict is they've never really learned how to solve problems with each other. Maybe they had a history of conflict when they were younger, when they were children. Now when they get together, every time that they start to discuss a problem or a difference of opinion, they go back to that old behavior that they had when they were children. I know it sounds silly to think that a person could mature in every other aspect of their life, but when they're with their siblings or their family, they suddenly demature. Is that even a term? I don't know. But it's actually possible, and it does happen. And this is because we create communication patterns with certain people. We sync with them in certain ways. And once we have a pattern established, even if it's from when we were very young, when we see that person again, those patterns come to the surface and we start to sync with them the same way again. This means that an unhealthy pattern from the past could lead to an unhealthy beginning going forward into the future, even though everybody should be more mature and be able to handle themselves a little bit better. Sometimes when people have children, they start to be a little bit more picky about what happens at a family gathering. They might get more picky about the music that's on, the television or shows that are watched, if somebody is sick or if they are being too loud at a time when a baby's trying to have a nap, or, fill in the blank. But once a person has children, they expect everybody else is going to respect that child and the boundaries that that child has and what that parent wants for the child. And the parent assumes that their family members would respect that. But what they're not recognizing is this is also the one time that everybody has to get together. And if they want to laugh and have fun and carry on a little bit and play games, they've been looking forward to this for the whole year. And so for one person to come in and say, because I have a baby, you can't do anything that you want to do, seems a little bit dominating. Now, obviously, there should be calm ways that we can work this out. But if those calm communication and problem-solving patterns have not been established prior to the event, it's going to be very difficult to stop those little conflicts, contentions, and annoyances from getting the better of everybody at the party. So if you've already subscribed to this channel, then you know that I teach all about the skills and principles of self-government, how to help you and your family be in control of yourselves, how to help you in your mind choose what thoughts you want to think and others that you decide might not be very healthy. So when we're talking about family conflict at a family party, We need to have some shared skills. If we didn't learn those skills when we were young, it's a little bit more difficult to develop them later just because everyone's living in a different place. So I recommend that the family have a special family meeting. Maybe there's somebody in the family who's always kind of neutral of the little disagreements and things that happen. Maybe it's the mom or the dad that isn't getting engaged in things with the siblings or something like that. Someone who loves and cares about everybody equally. That person should have a meeting with the group and say, listen, we're going to have a 10-minute meeting, or maybe we say no more than 20 minutes. Just don't let it go too long. Declare the time of the meeting at the very beginning. We're going to have this 20-minute meeting, and I think we're all going to be happy that we did. So don't make it too heavy. Keep it a little lighthearted so that people realize you're not judging anybody by having this meeting. Then I would say, our family is going to be getting together for Christmas pretty soon. So I'm envisioning this meeting could actually happen on Zoom or something like that, okay? Or maybe at a time where you're having a family gathering before you're going to have your big Christmas gathering. Or maybe it's even the year before. But you say to your family, we're going to be having a family Christmas gathering pretty soon, and I've noticed that sometimes in the past we feel distant from each other, we pull away, we maybe don't connect or open up. Sometimes we get frustrated with each other. There's even been a few times where some fights have broken out, and I think it's really because we just don't have a plan or a pattern for how to solve our problems. And I know everyone communicates differently, but what if we just all had a skill that we could use together? Now, they might think it's a good idea. Let's hope for that, right? Let's hope they're being mature ahead of time. And then you're going to teach them a skill. This is a skill that all children could use. All adults can use. In fact, as a parenting expert, I taught this skill to children. In fact, all the way, my children learned this from the time they were babies, all the way up until, well, now they're adults and they're coming to my house for Christmas, and they still use this skill with each other. The skill is called disagreeing appropriately. It is the gateway skill to self-government. It helps to bring all of your thought processes into the prefrontal cortex. It detaches you from your own emotions long enough to try to understand where somebody else is coming from, which is usually what you need in order to solve any conflicts or even to stop the conflicts from occurring. When a conflict is happening and you need to talk about something, it's always going to be healthy to seek to understand the other person, what they're feeling like, where they're coming from, words that they're saying to you, and then calmly help them understand where you are coming from. If they take that time to understand where you are coming from, then usually the both of you now have sought to understand the other person, and now when you talk about the problem, we're not villainizing each other. We can just get to a reasonable solution. Sometimes you don't get your way. At the end of disagreeing appropriately, if somebody still doesn't agree with you on whatever it is, you tried your best, but now just drop the subject, meaning don't carry bad feelings. Don't carry bad feelings. Drop the subject. If they don't agree with you, that's fine. So what? You love them. You have a relationship with them. Move on. That is a healthy thing to do. So the ideal is not to have to worry about things in the moment, but to just prepare ahead of time to use all the skills that you need for success. If the family recognizes that they need to have a good mindset about the relationships and about each other, give each other the benefit of the doubt going into the family party, then if they also recognize that they need to help out, which includes the child skill of following instructions sometimes, they need to also accept no answers from each other, which means there's going to be boundaries and stuff in place. Don't take it personally, just accept that people have their own boundaries and try not to cross over them. But then that disagree appropriately skill, if we can learn it ahead of time at this meeting that happens before the actual Christmas party, then, and if we just take a little bit of time to explain the steps to it, where you look at the person, you keep a calm face, voice, and body, you seek to understand the other person's point of view, you share your point of view, you listen to what they have to say, then you say okay and drop the subject. If you can think in that framework throughout all the conversations at your Christmas party, then you should be able to not feel like you need to dominate. One reason that people have conflict at parties that we didn't discuss before is because they want to feel validated, they want to feel appreciated, connected, and sometimes they start dominating conversations. They start saying too much. You need to be able to give yourself a no answer as well. So don't only accept no answers from everybody else around you with their boundaries and such, but tell yourself, no, don't be the center of attention. No, don't have to talk about your stuff all the time. Ideally, someone will ask you about it. That is good social skills. If they don't, You can weave in something a little bit here and there, but try not to be that person who's always talking about the things that they care about and oversteering that conversation. There's so many more things about self-government and a lot more details about these skills and how to run a really effective family meeting. I'd love to share with you all of those things in my next video called The Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success. Click on that video next. I'll see you there.